Ngeke ngiye kwaZulu kwafela umama wami. Ngithi ngeke ngiye kwaZulu kwafela umama wami. Thokozani Royals, Thokozani family, ninjani. How is everyone doing? Don't mind me singing. I can't sing to save my life, but I love singing and I love music. So just bear with me. Ninjani, please tap the screen. Let me know that you are you can hear me. That way we can go into it. Please tap the screen. Tap, 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 tap. Just to let me know that you guys can hear me. Greetings. Good evening. Good evening. I don't see any South Africans here. They're sleeping, hopefully. Thokozani, Hotep Royals. How is everyone doing tonight? Hope everyone is doing well. So I am here for us to continue our conversation on melanin. For those who follow me on YouTube, you'll know that I did a teaching a couple of days ago on melanin, and I said it was going to be a series. But this one is a sort of spontaneous one because because I'm being told I didn't finish the previous lesson. I tried to argue with the fact that the previous lesson was actually just a sort of a prelude. I was just doing an overall, and then I was going to break it down. Like we said, it's going to be a whole series. But I was told there was something important that I needed to pass on. So I just pressed the play button so I can deliver this. However, before I do that, I wanted to share something with you guys. Guys, please tap the screen so we can get up in the algorithm. I wanted to share something with you guys. I think on some previous video I did, I shared, somebody asked a question about what to do about parasites. And I said one very good and natural way to get rid of parasites was good old papaya or pawpaw. So I wanted to do a little demonstration also because I'm hungry and show you what I meant when I said you can actually use these papaya seeds for a period of say 2 weeks as an anti-parasite. It contains a compound. I keep forgetting that thing. See, I'm having a senior moment. I keep forgetting the name of the compound that will kill the parasites that are in your gut. So this is how you would do it, right? Watch and learn from a pro. So you literally just scoop up these seeds and just, you know, I do this perfectly all the other times, and now because you guys are watching me, I'm gonna make a mess, right? You scoop up the seeds like this, and this is all you do. Remember I said do not crush them because they're soft. They've got like a hard center, but then around them there's this fluid. That fluid is bitter. It's really bitter. So you don't ever want that fluid popping in your mouth. The seeds themselves are very bitter, which is why they're good anti-parasitic. Most of your bitter herbs, even from the African continent, that kill parasites like intolwane, are usually extremely bitter herbs. Soursop is another one that's anti-parasitic because of its really bitter taste. And I'm talking about the soursop leaf. Okay, so here, this is what you do. And you swallow. It's not that hard, right? So what I do if I'm doing an anti-parasite cleanse is if it's a big papaya, right, really big, what I'll do is I will scoop out the seeds and put them in a little container. And then actually here, see, I did come prepared. I thought I was scatterbrained. Here, I've got some in here, look. I scoop them all, put them in a container. And every morning before I eat anything, I will take a scoop of these. Like this is it's like a small tablespoon. It's not really the size of a teaspoon. So I don't want to mess them up because I've already used the spoon. But I would scoop and then just put them in my mouth and put them back in the fridge. This could last you like 2 weeks. And that's your 2-week parasitic cleanse. These things are really powerful and very effective. And when I was sharing about this, I said how interesting it is that nature has provided us with everything, because in the southern hemisphere, when the papaya or the pawpaw is in season, right? It is usually summer, when there are a lot of leafy green vegetables and things like that that people are eating from the earth, from the soil. So that is around the time at which people are actually taking in parasite eggs. Look how nature is. There are fruits that are growing at that time that have a compound, seeds in them, that can cure these parasites. So you don't have to take any pharmaceuticals. You don't have to stress yourself about, deworming. You can literally deworm in season, because you're eating all these things. You're taking in parasite eggs. They usually hatch within 1 to 2 weeks in your gut. Then they start burrowing to find ways that they can kind of feed off of you. And if you're eating papaya at that time, because there's so much of it, I always say, if you're at home, why even bother to say, okay, I'm doing a detox for 2 weeks? Just eat the damn seeds. They don't kill. Do you know what I'm saying? Just eat the seeds already. You're eating leafy greens with lots of little eggs and larvae. So eat the seeds. Swallowed. Not bad. Right? So then you go ahead and you eat your papaya, but you eat the seeds too. You're dewormed. Okay? I hope that made sense. I hope that made sense. And I hope you don't feel like I'm scolding you. I don't mean to scold you, but for me, it's like logic. Nature's provided this, the anti-parasitic. Here are my leafy greens that I love so much. I'm probably eating parasite eggs. Let me just, and life goes on, and nature is beautiful and wonderful. Okay, having said that, papaya itself, we're talking about melanin, we're talking about the skin. I'm going to put this down, guys. I cannot focus. I cannot eat and talk to you at the same time. Excuse me. I'm back. All right. Papaya itself is very good for the skin because it contains a compound called beta-carotene, vitamin A basically. It contains the same compound that is found in carrots. That is why it has that bright, beautiful orange color. That is very anti-inflammatory. It is very healing for your cells within your body, but it's also very healing for your very skin. So you find that a lot of people will use papaya to make face masks. People will use papaya, eat a lot of it. And you'll find that it smooths out any scarring that you may have. Vitamin A is very good if you have scars. Many of you who may have had C-sections know that usually one of the things that you can use to prevent the development or growth of scar tissue on your C-section or your wound is putting, vitamin E and vitamin A oil, and that usually will smooth away that scar. So eating a lot of papaya is good for you because it also prevents internal scarring in your gut. Sometimes people get constipated, and that causes, the gut is very, very soft. That causes scar tissue to start developing in the gut, which could be problematic. So eating a lot of papaya is very good all around in terms of anti-scar and so on and so on. There, I've given you a beauty plug. Now, let's talk about this thing I was told to come and talk about in relation to melanin. By the way, just so you know, and you can Google this if you don't believe me, right now melanin is increased in price. It is now selling at $500 per gram. It is more expensive than gold right now. Don't believe me? Check the stats. It's all there. So it's gone up to $500 per gram. Question becomes, who wants to buy melanin? Who wants to buy melanin? And the melanin that they are buying, where are they getting it from? Why is melanin priced? We will explore that in future classes because I will tell you some of the scientific, uses of melanin. But there's something I wanted to talk about, and this was why I was brought here today at this time. It's like I get mine from the sun. So do I. I get mine from the sun too. The Black nation gets their melanin they have their melanin in their skin, but it gets activated by the sun. That's more accurate. We don't get melanin from the sun. The sun simply activates our melanin the same way that the sun activates chlorophyll in a plant, because those two molecules are very similar and have a similar function. Activates chlorophyll in a plant so that the plant is healthy, activates melanin in us so that we are healthy. Here is the issue. Where does it come to us that our melanin, the melanin in our skin, is a bad thing? Because we need to talk about this whole issue of skin bleaching and skin lightening, to the point where people are now using intravenous drips to actually, to put glutathione inside your bloodstream so that it goes and blocks melanin at the cellular level so that it doesn't even get produced. Glutathione goes and inhibits the enzyme, I think it's L-tryptophan, that helps to create melanin. That's how bad this has become. Now, let's look historically at why anyone would want to destroy their melanin. And this is here no judgment. I'm just going to state historical facts that are all there. You can look them up. Because we were made to believe that our skin color was ugly. We were made to believe that our skin tone and having melanin was a bad thing. The same way we were told that having this curly C4 hair, and I don't even know who typed our hair, but anyway, C4 hair was a bad thing. There came the days of good hair versus bad hair, right? This thing was set up through colonization and through slavery. Why? Because proximity to whiteness could literally save your life. People don't understand that. We were classed based on the color of our skin and the texture of our hair. The darker you were, the kinkier your hair, the more likely you were to be in the fields. The more likely you were going to be sold. The more likely you were used, if you were a woman, as a breeding, almost like a cow that breeds. You were the one who lived in the slave quarters. The lighter your skin, the more flowy, the looser the curl of your hair, the more likely you were to be put in the house. The more likely... So this dislike we ourselves have internalized for our skin color, this was not how we were originally. We were made to become this way. Now, let me put it to you this so that we don't judge too harshly, because what people also don't realize, like I said, the skin tone and the texture of your hair could literally save your life. So what do you think people would prefer to be? On the African continent, I'll give you an example from Zimbabwe, where I grew up. In order to get a secretarial type position or job, you had to be what they called colored. Colored people are those who are mixed race, meaning they had fairer skin and a looser texture of hair. Those were the people who were put in secretarial position, personal assistant positions, and so on. If there was a job post advertised and you were a dark-skinned sister with the kinky hair and you showed up, forget about it. You would not get that job in that white company. Forget it. So it was already known throughout the education system in Zimbabwe that those who looked like me would end up going to do academics, end up in teaching and nursing and anything else that they could do. But there was this subsection of the population who were put into what were called commercial subject, which included, do you guys remember shorthand? Shorthand? So that they could take dictation, typing, those days, back in the days of typewriters. 90% of the people who did those commercial subjects were who? Those who were called the colored people, because officers would hire them. Those of us who were darker skinned, forget about it. You went to do nursing or teaching. You could never aspire to work in an office and dress and wear, stiletto heels, as they were called, and wear a suit and stand next to the boss who was white. Never. So your skin tone could literally determine the kind of job that you got. Because your skin tone, the darker it was, the more problematic it was. So I wanted us to look at this because it becomes very important in understanding our current pathologies. Why are we the way we are? And many people will say things like, yeah, I mean, that's then, get over it. No, people who understand spirituality, people who understand genetic or epigenetics, understand that there's a lot that we are today that is embedded in our genetics, and it's not going to be easy to get rid of. That is why we still have skin lightening now, to the point where people have developed IV drips for it. Back in the day, it used to be creams that you'd rub on yourself. And it was so sad because you always knew somebody had used a skin lightener because the knuckles... the knuckles would be black. The knees and the feet were resistant to that. What was that stuff they used to use? Hydroquinone. Hydroquinone was the main one. Back in the days of Ambi and Fair White, guys. So you could tell who was doing this by looking at their knuckles, by looking at the elbows, very resistant skin, elephant type skin. Look at the knees and then you look at the feet and you would know that our sister is on the regimen. Somebody said, can we change? Yes, we can change, but I want to paint the full picture and then we'll talk about how this became. We need to understand how something became the way it was so that we can dismantle it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break it down for you because I need you to understand, and I'm using this as an example so that you understand how this system works. This system works in this manner. You're going to find this in healthcare. You're going to find this in the beauty industry. You're going to find it everywhere. This system works like this. Number one, create a problem. You create a problem. What was the problem in the context we're talking? The problem for us was our skin and our hair. So they told us that our skin and our hair were a problem. Then we're like, oh, Shem. I'm blackety black. I'm Sudanese blackety black. I'm like, I am oil black. I'm charcoal. What am I going to do? Then they're like, no, don't worry. We have the solution. Bleach your skin. They create the problem. Then they bring you a solution. And the solution they bring you, because it is a system that is accustomed to commodifying, meaning it makes us a commodity. They make billions off of us by creating problems out of who we are. Then they proffer you the solution without regard for what that solution has in terms of long-term effects. They don't care. Matter of fact, I think with prolonged studies of what melanin is in our skin, in our bodies, it became very expedient for them to say, we can kill two birds with one stone. These guys, we've told them they've got a problem, which is the whole skin thing. But what they don't realize is this melanin is deeper than that. This is their divinity. So now we create solutions where we destroy this divinity and its very production, which is in the cells of your body. We've killed two birds with one stone. One, they'll never remember who they are. And number two, well, we're making money off of them because guess what? They're going for the drips. They're buying the creams. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry the world over. I'm talking in the black family all over, the black nation all over the world. Africa, north, south, east, and west, here in the Americas, go to Brazil. Everywhere where we are, this is a real problem, the whole skin lightening thing. And it is literally about destroying our divinity. If you watched Melanin Part 1, if you haven't, go to YouTube and watch it. You will understand why I say that. So that is how this system functions. So as we go forward, always remember, this is what they do. Create a problem. Bring the solution. The solution creates more problems. And they bring another solution. And they create more problems. In every sector, this is how they roll. Medicine is no different. Everywhere they create problems. Look at the medicines that they give, say, for high blood pressure. What are the side effects of half of those things? The side effects will require you to take another medication to deal with the side effects. And while you're dealing with the side effects of that problem, you're going to have other. So now you have to deal with the side effects of the side effects medication. And in the meantime, who's cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching? They commoditize us. They make money off of us. The same way they did with the hair. And what is the long-term effect of hair straighteners? We're finding out now. There are class action lawsuits in this country right now because because things like cancer take a long time to show. But now studies have been done to show that Black women have the highest rates of breast, ovarian, uterine, cervical cancers because of what? Many of them used hair relaxers with lye from the time that they were 6 and 7 years old, when their mothers would relax their hair and it would burn your scalp and you'd be screaming your head off, and because you had to look good to school, you had to fit in. Your mother couldn't bleach your skin when you were young, but at least if your hair was good. When we say divest from the system, that is what we mean. Get away from the system that has us trapped into believing nonsense about ourselves, which is costing us. It's costing us in the pocket, and then it's costing us our health. And it's costing you your divine connection to the cosmos, which is absolutely what you need for you to become who you really are on this planet. The cost is too great for you to stay plugged into this system. I go through the socials and I see people, even TikTok shop and everything, people are showing this is a skin toning cream, this is a what, nothing, skin toning, most of those things are bleaching agents. You can have beautiful, beautiful skin that is well cleansed, that is well moisturized, that is nice and plump without the so-called skin toner. So your melanin, like I say, you're busy destroying it, but it's going right now at $500 per gram. Because they know what that is. It's more expensive than gold. And you're destroying it. Happily so. When will we wake up? Like somebody said, we can change this. Yes, we can and we must. That's why we have these conversations, because some people aren't even aware. I like to have these kind of conversations so that next time somebody tries to sell you something, ask yourself, is this solving a genuine problem? Or is somebody trying to have me perceive that I have a problem? Because if somebody's coming to problematize my skin by telling me my skin is too dark, that's a them problem, not a me problem. And you're not going to sell me anything that doesn't concern me. If you have a problem with my skin tone, that's your business. I don't. So divesting from this system means coming back into ourselves and taking care and like really seeing ourselves for who we are as opposed to who they say we are. Many people, many of us have grown to love our hair texture, but I can tell you growing up, I couldn't stand my hair. I'm going to be honest. I mean, I grew up and went to a school that was all white. We were so few of us. And there were times I longed for the, for the horse mane. Before I knew what that all was and how somebody ended up with... It was before I knew about Yakub and his experiments and the fusion of, different species. And before I knew all that, I longed, to run and have my hair. Because I was surrounded by people who looked like that. And they seemed to be treated more pleasantly than people like me. So when my mom used to do my hair with thread and put these sticky things out there, do you know what I once did? Just so that I didn't have my mother's outlandish hairstyles, which now I look back, I'm like, oh my God, my mom used to do hair so well. I used to take a scissors and I would hold one of those things and I would literally go as close to my scalp as possible and I would cut one off. So the minute I cut one, she'd get so angry because she loved to grow our hair and she loved me with long hair. But I would cut one off and then in the end, she'd just have to cut my hair short. So most of my time in school, I had short hair because of that. But you see, this thing starts from childhood. So you yearn for proximity to whiteness. You want to be as white as possible or perceived as white as possible because you see in the environment you're in that people who look like you don't get treated well. And those who look more white get treated very well. They're the ones who are told by the teachers, see, people in charge of you who are also white. You're so pretty. You're so beautiful. Oh, they pick up their hand in class to answer a question. The teacher picks them immediately. You get overlooked. What does that set up in a child? It sets up, and the thing is, as a child, you see the very visible, marked differences between you and this person. You can tell, I'm a nice person, I'm kind, I'm helpful. Okay, that can't be it. Oh, she's treated this way because she's got straight hair. Okay, she's white. She's white. I'm not. Most of us were introduced to the issue of race in that painful and traumatic manner. It was a rude awakening to realize that who and what you were was a problem. Who and what you were was not lovable, was not likable. So many defaulted. And what could you do? Guys, when you're in survival mode, you're in survival mode. Like I said, sometimes on plantations and on farms, you knew that proximity to whiteness could literally save your life. You knew this. And so you aspired and you did whatever it is it took to look like that or to get as close to as possible. So what's happening with us now, you say? This is centuries later. Why are we still trapped in this? We're still trapped in this because mentally we're still enslaved and mentally we're still trapped in this system. Number one. Number two, there is a thing called epigenetic memory, meaning that our DNA has a way of storing trauma for centuries. And if it's not unpacked and looked at honestly and taken care of, We are going to continue to perpetuate the same things that were perpetuated on us. We are now going to be doing on ourselves. Because right now, nobody, and this is the thing, you see, this is the witchcraft of whiteness that many of you guys don't understand. When you psychologically damage a people today, centuries down the line, they are reproducing psychologically damaged offspring. That's the biggest heist. That's the biggest witchcraft. Until there is something that happens to snap out of that collective generational curse, and we start talking about our traumas openly and healing them, this will continue. This thing was set up so long ago, they no longer need to be actively involved in it. It's a self-perpetuating machine. They just need to sit back and watch and benefit off of it. Still making the money off of it. Now you've even got black manufacturers or black scientists and whatever else you want to call them creating these creams. Doesn't need to be a foreigner anymore. They set that up. Now it's just a self-making machine. It runs itself. It's on autopilot. They just sit back, cash in on what they told us centuries ago was a problem. And it is what it is. And we continue to destroy ourselves. So I really just wanted to come here and talk about this from that perspective so that there is a deeper understanding of why it is that anyone would want to destroy themselves. The bottom line is self-hate. Internalized, deep-seated self-hate. Which is another reason why we can be so violent towards each other, because we have a deep-seated self-hate. We do not like this. We do not like ourselves. And so when you see someone who looks like you, they are a mirror to you. They are a reflection of yourself. And because you don't like yourself, you don't love yourself, what do? You attack. What do? You undermine. What do? You belittle. What do? When they're down, you're joyful. You're malicious. Self-hate. It's deep, right? So I just wanted to let you guys know that this is what's up. Lie was not invented by a black man. Lie is an ammoniacal, it's actually an ammonia-based, what do they call these? An ammonia-based cleaning product. That is what lie is. Now, if he invented it, people who are who are suing right now are suing a company. That company is not owned by a black man. The major manufacturer of hair relaxers that have lye in them, and there are many brands that have said they don't have lye, but you can literally smell the lye. And the fact that it still burns your scalp when you put it on your scalp means it has lye. So I want to correct that very quickly. On that note, guys, this is going up on the YouTube. If you missed the first part about your detox using papaya, that's there too. And next one, we're going to delve deeper now. So I think that they are going to be satisfied that I exhausted the skin issue, and that because that was the issue, I needed to come and talk about that, and that I've laid the foundation as we move forward for you to always have in the periphery of your consciousness that they create a problem, they bring a solution that creates more problems. Because as we go through the Melanin series, you will see how that comes into play. And hopefully we can decolonize by this Melanin series that I just started. It's quite a, I don't know how to put this, quite a heavy topic, and it's something that I didn't want to do. But then, like I said to you guys, if I'm told to do something and I don't do it, I get stuck. Like I literally get stuck. I can't move on to anything else until I do what I'm told. So I've resigned myself to the fact that, I will do the Melanin series. and it's long. It's gonna be a long series because melanin is a huge topic, and I'm gonna break it down into small segments that are digestible because it's also a little science heavy, but I'm going to teach it the way our ancestors might have taught about this melanin, which is to take something very complex, make it really simple and digestible, and also give practical ways in which you can assist yourself in your life. After all, this is spirituality. Spirituality is about energy in motion. It's about doing. And I don't know passive learners here. Like, I'm not here to spoon feed you. If there's something I've said you're not sure of, your job is to go and do further research. Don't come back on the YouTube to say, Gogo, can you explain? Because I won't. Unless I know that it's something you're not going to find out there, then I'll explain. Because that's another thing we need to do. We need to stop being passive about our own spiritual growth and get active. So, on that note, I love you guys so much. Thank you for listening. And Togozani, see you on the next one.